Welcome to this video, everyone. I want to use this video to talk through how do you solve for question 1 and 2 in 2012 APC Mechanics Practice Exam. This question is about projectile motion. And to me, learning physics, the key is learning how to solve a problem. The problem-solving skills you get from learning physics will be beneficial for you, even in your future. No matter what you will be working on, you're working in finance, you're working computer engineering, you're always dealing with problems. How to use a concept to solve for a problem. And that's what I find learning physics is most beneficial for me. So let's take a look at this question. There's a ball which is struck at time 0 and follows a parabolic path, which is basically a projectile motion path. The question is asking you, assume there's no air resistance, which is almost always the case for AP Physics exam because with air resistance, the question will be too hard to solve for. And we assume positive directions are upward and to the right. Now the question is, how would you describe the horizontal component of the velocity of this ball? So A, B, C, D, E. Let's analyze this question. Firstly, projectile motion is the first or the most important two-direction motion you'll be dealing with in physics. The two dimensions are horizontal, which can also be called the x direction, and vertical, which can also be called the y direction. For horizontal direction, the velocity is constant. And the reason behind it is because if you have a projectile motion, the only force is gravitational force. Gravitational force is in the vertical direction, which would have nothing to do with horizontal. They are always independent of each other. Now, horizontal direction has constant velocity. That is to say, the velocity in x direction is going to be whatever the initial velocity is, which is called Vx0. How would you draw a graph for something that does not change? It would be a horizontal line. No change. Alright, so the answer would be E. This horizontal line is showing us the horizontal component of the velocity does not change over time. Now let's move on to question 2. Question 2 is asking you, what about the vertical component of the velocity? The y direction. Remember, they were saying the positive direction is upward. So, in y direction, or the vertical direction, there is a force, and that force is gravitational force, mg. This force will produce a constant deceleration or acceleration, depending on which one you prefer. We call it deceleration. That is because g is downward, but your acceleration or your positive direction is actually upward. They are opposite to each other. That's why we see it is a constant deceleration. With that, use your Big 5. As a reminder, Big 5 is written as Vt equal to V0 plus At. In this case, we will be having Vy equal to your initial velocity in y direction minus acceleration times t. Minus here is because it is downward. Alright. Think about what you have learned in analytical geometry, or basically think about the picture of a quantity which is changing over time as something minus a constant times time. That is basically a straight line moving downward. Or another way to think through it is, it's a big value initially and then it will be decreasing to 0. After 0, here's a bit tricky. After 0, the value of this quantity is going to be bigger and bigger, but it's not going to go up. That's not the right answer, because the value gets bigger and bigger, but it is more and more negative. So remember, it is true, the speed is getting bigger, but for the velocity, it is less and less because it's more and more negative. And the answer would be D. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this is a very good question for you to understand projectile motion and how do you solve questions related to projectile motion in AP Physics C. Thank you.